Another Dexter Spinoff show is dead, says showrunner. So let me start with this. You know that feeling when a show promises you a whole universe, new stories, deeper secrets, characters you're dying to understand, and then suddenly, snap, they rip it away before you even get to see it. That's exactly what just happened with Dexter, and I've gotta say it stings hard. Because today, we're talking about something that fans didn't see coming. Another Dexter spinoff is dead. Killed, buried. And not even in a Dexter-style ritual with precision and care. This one feels more like a messy cover-up, and the kicker, the way it all went down tells us a lot more about Showtime, Paramount, and the future of the franchise than they probably wanted us to know. Let me just throw a question at you. If Yellowstone can have endless prequels and spin-offs, why is Dexter, one of the most iconic shows of all time, being stripped down to just one? Is someone at Paramount sabotaging Dexter's future? Or is this actually the smartest play they could make? Here's the shocking part. Clyde Phillips, the man behind Dexter's revivals, revealed that not just one but two potential spin-offs had full seasons written, entire storylines, 10 full scripts each. Trinity's origin, written. Harrison's solo story, written, all ready to go. And now, they're in a drawer somewhere collecting dust. Imagine writing 10 entire books only to watch them never leave your laptop. I'll be honest with you, when I first heard this I laughed. Because it almost sounds like a bad Dexter plot twist, right? 10 scripts, 1 year in LA, a showrunner away from his family just to see it all scrapped. But then it hit me. This isn't funny. This is actually tragic, because it shows how little control even the creators have over the fate of their shows. And here's where the pain point comes in. Because as fans, we're constantly asked to invest our time, our emotions, years of theorizing, binge watching, defending Dexter to our friends who hated the finale. We ride all the ups and downs. And in return, we're promised expansion, prequels, spin-offs, this grand Yellowstone-style universe. But then corporate reshuffling happens, and suddenly it's all gone. Now let's pause here for a second. If you're watching this and you've been burned before by canceled shows, whether it was Mindhunter, Hannibal, Santa Clarita Diet, or now Dexter Original Sin, hit that subscribe button right now. Because on Breakdown Epic, we don't just recap what happened, we dig into the forbidden knowledge the studios don't want you to know. And trust me, you don't want to miss the secrets I'm about to drop about Dexter's future. Okay, so back to Clyde Phillips. He basically admitted that the entire Dexter expansion was modeled after Yellowstone. Multiple timelines, multiple perspectives, a shared universe of killers and victims. Dexter in the 90s, Trinity's twisted childhood, Harrison growing into his own dark legacy, and for a while, Paramount was all in, until Chris McCarthy, the executive who was pushing it, left the company. And when he walked out the door, so did the Dexter verse. Now, let me ask you, have you ever noticed how fragile these universes are? One exec leaves, one merger happens, and suddenly entire seasons vanish like they never existed. It makes you wonder, are we watching shows, or are we just at the mercy of boardroom politics? Here's the forbidden knowledge that nobody's talking about. Original Sin was actually performing well. The finale pulled in 27% more viewers than the premiere. It wasn't a flop, it was growing. Fans were literally showing up, episode by episode, and Paramount still killed it. That's not just strange, that's suspicious. So what's really going on here? According to Phillips, the only show they care about now is Dexter Resurrection. The return of Michael C. Hall. The undoing of his infamous death. The resurrection, literally, of the character that made Showtime what it is. And while that sounds exciting, here's the problem: it's all eggs in one bloody basket. Let me put it this way: imagine Dexter as a scalpel. Precise, sharp, deadly. Now imagine Showtime executives swinging that scalpel around like it's a baseball bat. That's what this move feels like. They're betting everything on one show, instead of carefully carving out a universe. And I don't know about you, but that makes me nervous. Because here's the thing, when you cancel something like Original Sin, you're not just killing a show, you're killing the chance to see Patrick Gibson develop as young Dexter. You're erasing years of potential character exploration. You're robbing fans of the slow, meticulous storytelling that could have recontextualized everything we know about Dexter's code, his first kills, his early mistakes, and the Trinity prequel. That one hurts even more. John Lithgow's Arthur Mitchell is considered one of the greatest TV villains of all time. To see his origin, his family dynamic before the Morgan clash, the seeds of what made him into the monster Dexter faced in season 4, fans would have devoured that. Instead, it's backburnered. Corporate speak for never gonna happen. But here's where it gets juicy. Phillips himself said if they cancel Original Sin, which is a built-in hit, how are they gonna pick up Trinity? Translation: don't get your hopes up. They're cutting away the branches of the Dexter tree until only the trunk remains. Michael C. Hall. Now, let's play a hypothetical. What if Resurrection doesn't perform as expected in season 2? What if fans don't like the direction? What if Michael C. Hall decides he's finally done with Dexter for good? If you cancel all your backup spinoffs, what do you have left? A dead franchise. That's the real risk here. And let's be honest, we've seen this happen before. Remember how The Walking Dead tried to juggle a million spinoffs? It worked until it didn't. Remember Marvel? They stretched themselves so thin that audiences tapped out. So maybe Showtime looked at that and said, let's not repeat the same mistake. But still, doesn't it feel like Dexter deserved at least one spinoff to survive? Here's where I want to hear from you guys. Drop it in the comments right now. Would you have rather seen Dexter Resurrection continue? Or would you have picked Original Sin or Trinity? If you could only save one spin-off from the chopping block, which one would it be? I'll pin the best answer. And don't worry, we're not done yet. Because in part 2 of this breakdown, I'm going to reveal the secret reasons Paramount may have actually killed Original Sin and Trinity. I'm talking merger politics, budget wars, and maybe even something darker that fans aren't supposed to know. Stick around, because once you hear this next part, you'll never look at Showtime the same way again. Alright, so we've established that Dexter Original Sin and Trinity both had entire seasons written, both had momentum, and both were killed anyway. That's the surface level story. But if you've been here on Breakdown Epic long enough, you know that's never the whole story. There are always hidden motives, quiet boardroom whispers, and forbidden knowledge lurking behind the press releases. So let's rip into the real reason these Dexter spin-offs are dead. First secret, the Paramount Skydance merger. On paper, this was just business restructuring. In reality, it was a corporate cage match. Old executives pushed out, new executives brought in, and when that happens, shows that were passion projects of the old regime almost always get tossed. Not because they're bad, not because fans don't want them, but because new bosses want to put their own stamp on the brand. Think about it. If you're a new executive, why would you keep greenlighting projects your predecessor started? That makes them look like the genius, not you. So you scrap it, start over, and claim the next big win. That's why we lost Original Sin and Trinity. They weren't bad shows, they were someone else's legacy. Second secret, budget wars. People forget, but producing Dexter is expensive. Not just because of the cast, but because of the location, shooting, the licensing, the talent contracts. When you've already got Michael C. Hall returning, and trust me, he's not coming cheap, you're looking at one of the most expensive single leads in television. So what do execs do? They cut the side projects. They kill the spin-offs. They funnel all the money into the shiny flagship, Dexter Resurrection. Here's where it gets wild. Clyde Phillips admitted he was living in LA for a year away from his wife, working nonstop on these spin-offs. 10 scripts for Harrison, 10 for Trinity. That's 20 hours of television completely finished. Do you know how much money went into paying those writers' rooms, those development costs, the staff, the travel, the housing? We're talking millions. And then, poof, all gone. And that brings us to the third secret. This one's darker, because what Phillips basically revealed is that Showtime never had a true Dexter universe plan. They were imitating Yellowstone. Yellowstone had 1883-1923 spin-offs everywhere, but Yellowstone is a western sandbox, it's endless. Dexter is not. Dexter's universe is specific. Serial killers, cops, family trauma. Once you've told the story of Dexter, Harrison, and maybe Trinity, you're out of gas. And Showtime knew that. So here's the forbidden knowledge nobody wants to say out loud. The spin-offs were never meant to last. They were meant to buy time, to keep fans hooked long enough for Michael C. Hall to be coaxed back. And once they had him, the spin-offs became irrelevant. The second Hall said yes to Resurrection, every other project became expendable. Now let me ask you this. Doesn't it feel like we've been tricked? Sold the promise of a Dexter verse when the real plan all along was just to drag Michael C. Hall out of retirement? This is where I want to pull you into the conversation. Imagine if Resurrection didn't exist. No Michael C. Hall. No comeback. Would you have been happy with a full Harrison series and a Trinity prequel? Or would it feel like Dexter without Dexter? Drop your answer below. I genuinely want to see which side the fanbase falls on. And let's be real here. Remember how we clowned on New Blood's ending together? That whole Dexter dies in the woods fiasco? Yeah. Resurrection exists only to undo that. Showtime realized fans weren't just mad. They were done. And if they didn't fix it, Dexter would stay in the grave forever. That's why Resurrection suddenly became the crown jewel, and everything else went in the trash. But there's another layer here. The Trinity show being scrapped isn't just a business decision. It's a missed cultural moment. John Lithgow's Arthur Mitchell is more than a character. He's one of the most chilling, iconic villains in TV history. His story is unfinished. His past is a mystery we all want solved. And killing that show means we'll never see what truly twisted him into the man who outsmarted Dexter for so long. And here's where I'll roast the XX a little, because Paramount hyped up Dexter like it was the next Marvel. They teased us with big promises, leaked the idea of spin-offs to the trades, got fans buzzing on forums and socials. And then what? They Thanos snapped the whole thing away. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired of studios treating fandoms like lab rats. Dangle a piece of cheese, then yank it away for a new experiment. So let's put a bow on this. The truth is, the Dexter universe isn't dead. It's shrinking. They're doubling down on Dexter Resurrection. They're betting everything on Michael C. Hall. If it works, great. If it fails, the franchise flatlines for good. That's the risk they're taking, and as fans, we're the ones on the hook. Now, for my closing thought, I'll leave you with a little hypothetical. Picture this. Resurrection Season 2 ends with Dexter exposed. Harrison caught in the middle. No more hiding, no more dark passenger. If that's the last story we ever get, would you be satisfied? Or will you always wonder about the lost shows, the secret scripts, the what could have beens of Dexter Original Sin and Trinity? I know my answer. I'll always wonder, and I'll probably make memes about it too. Like, imagine Dexter staring at a stack of unused scripts, whispering, "Tonight's the night." Or Clyde Phillips looking at Paramount's XX like Arthur Mitchell in Season 4A. Hello, Dexter Morgan. That's exactly the energy here. So let's end this breakdown epic on a high note. If you made it this far, you're officially part of the inner circle. The people who don't just watch Dexter, but dissect it. Drop a comment with your favorite Lost spin-off idea, and I'll feature the funniest one in the next video. And remember, stay sharp, stay suspicious, and stay subscribed. Because if the studios won't give us the secrets, break